before the break, we were speaking with Dr. Umar Johnson, and Dr. Johnson, I was asking you about Chicago, because, you know, we're speaking about our quote-unquote leaders. They've all been there, including Minister Farrakhan, and still the shooting seems going on unabated. What is going on? What can you say to these young people that you think will resonate with them and they'll put down their firearms?
Well, number one, we have to understand something, that the violence we see follows a very clear path. And that very clear path is that wherever you see the most violence, you also see the most oppression and the most lack of opportunity. Now, Chicago is the third largest city in America, probably the largest black metropolis in the country, second only possibly to New York City. And so you're also seeing one of the highest rates of black joblessness. You're seeing one of the highest rates of incarceration. You're seeing one of the highest rates of drug abuse. And you're also seeing one of the highest rates of black child neglect and abuse, not just from families, but I'm talking about from the system. I mean, look at what's happening in Chicago. It's the largest public school shutdown operation in the country. Philadelphia is second. So you have to put the violence in context. Those young black men in Chicago who are killing each other are also unemployed. They're also stressed out. Many of their fathers are in jail. Some of their mothers are probably strung out on drugs. They go to schools where they're not wanted. They can't find a job. All of a lack of opportunity breeds anger. It breeds depression. It breeds agitation and fury. Violence is the release of all that negative energy that we are so often expected to hold in. We held it in slavery because we still had some unity. We held it in during the civil rights movement to some extent because we still had some unity. But today, you have almost no serious black movement that is targeting the youth. And so all of that negative energy, they can't hold it because they're really not seeing any sunshine on the horizon that would allow them to transmute that negative energy into something more positive. They are desperate. They are downtrodden. I know this because I speak in Chicago more than any other city. In fact, I'll be back on November 2nd for the parent conference. But in Chicago, our black males are suffering. Wherever the violence is, there's also the most oppression. And as far as organization, in Chicago and in other cities not really being of any consequence to the youth, it's because they're not providing them with opportunities, Carl. Where are the jobs? Where are the schools just for our young people? Where's the housing for our young people? Where's the trade school programs that makes high school meaningful for our young people? Which is why so many of them are dropping out onto the streets, because they know that a high school diploma isn't necessarily a guarantee for anything in America if you're black. So we have to look at how the organizations, all of them, are failing our young people. And that is why you see so much violence. The violence is nothing more than pain being externally directed.
So what do we do?
Well, you have to start providing them with opportunity. Number one, we got to find jobs for the young teenagers. Number two, we got to have trade skill building programs for the older teenagers that allows them to work and learn at the same time. Learn while you earn. You're in the plumbing program. You're in the carpentry program. I'm going to teach you how to fix cars. I'm going to teach you how to repair a car that's been in an accident. You're going to be in a masonry program. You're going to be in an HVAC program. And while you're in that program, you're also going to be getting paid. Look at that. That's a 2-for-1. Any of those young men will pick up that opportunity to learn something. Our young people do not want to be killers. They do not want to be hanging on the street. But the community doesn't have anything for them. And they're mad at us, and they're mad at the system. They're mad at racism, and they're also mad at the community neglect black people who are constantly telling them to pull their pants up, constantly telling them what they are doing wrong, never being told when they're doing something right. So they have simply shut us all out, and they have created a culture of their own based on violence.
in this period, the pain to remain the same outweighed the pain to change. I see that the time period brought on an evolution, and it's contagious like hot coals. One ignites the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. When you get tired enough is when you begin to want to sacrifice everything inside of you. The fear just leaves. This is what happened in this time period.